Hey guys, it's Charlene. Today I am going to show you how I made a gorgeous butterfly card. I'm also going to be sharing some tips and tricks on ink blending as well as some mixed media. So let's jump right in. I am starting out here with half a sheet of cardstock and I am going to ink blend a rainbow. I'm starting out with Bubblegum Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated Ink. And yes, I have this sped up, but that's because I want to go through the entire ink blending process with you. I don't always do this, but I wanted to throw this in there to show you guys how to get a really nice blend. So you can see I started out with the pink. I got a good amount down on my paper. Then I went into lemonade, a nice yellow. I didn't do a ton of overlapping though. After that, I'm coming in here with the marine. Again, not really any overlap. I'm just making sure to get it right up to the edge of the other color and maybe go over a little bit. And then lastly, I'm using lilac. Now I'm going to make sure to get a really nice coating of the lilac because what I do is I go pink, yellow, blue, purple, and then I go back. You see here how I just went back to the blue, and this is where I start doing the real blending, where I start overlapping the colors in order to get new colors. So the blue is overlapping the purple a little bit, and then the blue is overlapping that yellow in order to get a nice green, and then the yellow is going to overlap the pink in order to get an orange. So we'll get a full rainbow here. But I don't want to focus right away on the blending of the colors. At first, it's just a matter of really just getting some ink down onto the paper and then coming back and doing that overlap. So in real time, that took me probably about 6 minutes. So keep that in mind. Now I'm coming in here with the new Flaunt Butterfly Die from Picket Fence Studios, and this also has a coordinating layering stencil. I'm going to be using that as well. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to die cut the large butterfly die as well as all of the small dies. You can see I have those there on the left. But I also die cut them on the right of the butterfly, and I did that off camera. That'll make more sense once you see them in a minute. So now I'm coming in with the layering stencil, and I'm just using the top part of the stencil because I'm going to do some mixed media here. I'm using the Arctic Fox Paper Glaze Luxe from Picket Fence Studios, and this is a really easy way to add some fun glitter to a card because it's got a lot of sparkle to it. It's white, but it has a lot of sparkle. So it creates that extra dimension and layer because it's white, but then it also brings the bling because it is sparkly. This will make more sense as it dries. So I'm just making sure to get into each and every little cranny, and then I'm smoothing it all out and putting the excess back into my little container. Now I did use a repositionable spray on the back of this stencil. That is a good idea when you're doing mixed media because it helps make sure you get really crisp lines when you are pulling your stencil up. And there, doesn't that look cool with the rainbow background? Love it. So I'm going to set that aside to dry. I did off camera cut out 2 more of the large butterfly dies in white cardstock, and I'm using some liquid adhesive to layer them up. So I'm just making sure to get a nice coating, and then I'll put the first one on there, add more glue, and then put the top butterfly on there. The key really to getting your die cuts to layer well is to pinch around the edges. So once you put them together, kind of go around, pinch around the edges before you really smush it down together, because that's going to help you make sure everything is nice and lined up. So this was a little tricky with the butterfly antenna, but I managed to make it work. You just got to kind of have a little patience, and that liquid adhesive is what allows you to do it because you get some wiggle time in order to make sure everything is nice and lined up. So if you're not a fan of dimensions, certainly you do not need to stack up die cuts. But if you are, it creates a really nice look on the front of your card. And this butterfly is going to be the main focal point of the card. So I wanted it to look raised from the card and really nice so that it kind of popped out of the card. And then on each side of it, we'll have all of the smaller die cut butterflies, and they will not be popped up. So you could also accomplish this if you wanted to just by using some foam tape or some adhesive squares. You do not need to do it with extra die cuts, But because of those tiny little pieces on the butterfly, I really wanted to do the layered die cuts in order to make sure that it would hold up through the mail, that I didn't have to worry about trying to pop up those antennae or worry about them getting smushed or something like that. I wanted them to have a lot of extra strength to them. Now, if you've ever made a sky background, you know that cloud stencils are perfect for doing that. I'm using the 52 layers of cloud stencil from Picket Fence Studios, and I like this because there are so many different options and the clouds look a little bit more lifelike rather than the kind of cartoony style of clouds that sometimes you'll see. So I have, you can see there's some Post-it tape on the bottom of the stencil, and that's just so I don't get any over blend onto the bottom of my paper there, because I'm kind of messy when I'm ink blending. And then I'm just adjusting the stencil as I go and using some more of that marine, and I'm just going really lightly around there. I'm not putting a lot of ink down because I can always add more if I feel like it's not dark enough. I just want to give it a little hint of clouds. I don't want this to be overwhelming or to take away from the butterfly. Something I like to do is to hold up my die to the paper or hold my stamps up on the paper so I can get a sense of where I need to put the color, if it's dark enough, if I like how it looks. And of course you can do this as light or as dark as you want. I really wanted it to have a pretty good sky color for the blue, but I wanted the clouds to be very wispy and faint down at the bottom. So you can see I'm just coming in with the blue and just ink blending over where the tops of the clouds are. And you can even hold your die up like I just did there and then add a little bit more ink if you need to. Don't be afraid to actually get your hands in there with your dies and your stamps to see how they're going to look. Now, once I get this done, I'm going to tape it down on my piece of cardstock so I can die cut this out exactly how I want it. And I'm also going to die cut a larger stitched rectangle die for the outer border. I put some double-sided tape on the back of the sky piece, and I bent back the release tape about 1/6 of the way. And now you can see I'm making sure that this is nice and straight on that white border before I push down on the area where I have exposed that double-sided tape. This makes it really easy to line up the panels and make sure that I get a nice border all the way around that sky piece. So now I've pushed down the tape, and now I can flip up the sky piece and pull off the release tape and go ahead and apply the rest of it down. This is a really easy way to make sure that you're getting things straight on top of your card. So once that's pushed down, it looks great. There's an even border all the way around. And you can see I've got my big, beautiful butterfly there. I just love this butterfly so much. It's really pretty. You guys know I am a fan of butterflies, and there are a bunch in this new release from Picket Fence Studios. There's 3 different styles of butterflies that have this die, or have a die, and then also have separately a coordinating layering stencil. So if this butterfly is not your favorite, then you should check out the other ones too. So I'm going to glue that down with the liquid adhesive. I'm also gluing down my sentiment, which says magical. And I've just die cut this from some gold kind of shiny cardstock, specialty cardstock that I had in my stash. And I'm getting the glue on the back there, but then I'm tapping it off on a piece of scrap paper. And that's a tip you can follow to make sure you don't get a bunch of glue kind of smushed out from behind your tiny die cuts. So I've got my beautiful sentiment there, and you can see I used the back side of a piece of Post-it tape there to hang on to the little I as well as the letters, because I didn't want to lose it. So that's what I did, and then I just used my jewel picker to go ahead and apply it with some glue. Now I can come in with the butterflies, and because of how I die cut these butterflies off of the ink blended piece of cardstock that we created at the beginning of this video, it allows the rainbow ink blending to continue to the right and to the left of the butterfly. And I really like that effect. I think this looks really cool. You have the shaded out kind of purple blue of the butterflies on the right hand side, and then on the left hand side of the card you'll have the yellow, orange, pinky butterflies that fade out on the left hand side. So another way to bring the focus in on the main butterfly that's at the front, and also another way to fill up your card so you don't have a lot of empty space hanging out around all over on your card. Now certainly this card would look nice with just the butterfly, but I think adding all of the tiny butterflies in on the right and left just makes it a little bit more magical, I guess. So I'm going to get those butterflies down there, and that is actually going to finish this card up. There is not much more to it. It's a really easy card. There's no coloring, nothing like that. It's the ink blending, die cutting, some gluing, and then using the stencil to add that white glittery gorgeousness. Oh, I just love that so much. It is one of my favorite ways to add a little bit of texture and dimension, but glitter as well to a card, because then you don't even need any kind of sequins or anything like that. Now all I need to do is glue my card panel down to a card base, and that's going to complete the card. So if you haven't tried mini slimlines, I also recommend giving them a try. They are a lot of fun, they're easy to mail, and they give you the added ability to add some kind of width to your card, to add some fun stuff. All right, guys, I hope you picked up some tips and tricks today. Please be sure to like and subscribe, as well as hit that notification bell so that I can continue bringing you more crafty content in the future. Until next time, happy crafting.